Seven Child Publishing presents Silas Wilcox and Margaret Belinda Allen, Finding Their Burial Places, which I guess we can say is part 4 in this story. This video continues the documented story of my third great-grandparents. Part 1 told of their their origins through traveling to Nauvoo in 1840. Part 2 video told a lot more detail about their lives in Nauvoo, and Part 3 covers what happened to them after the Saints were driven from Nauvoo. Most of this documentation has been made available in recent years, including new evidence about the death of Margaret Belinda Allen, made available after April 2024. This video discusses different places family researchers believe each of them were buried, and what are the reasons for each location. Unfortunately, there is no stone or cemetery record providing their final resting place. Since Margaret Belinda Allen Harmon was the first one to die, we will discuss her first. The last church record that had her listed with her married name of Wilcox was 1846, when she received her endowment. When they were gathering records for those that died in Nauvoo, they were unaware that she had married Jesse Pierce Harmon as his polygamist wife. 3 days after she received her endowment, she was married to Jesse. Since her records stopped as Margaret Wilcox then, they assumed she died in Nauvoo, and her name is listed on the monument in the Nauvoo Cemetery for early saints that died there in Nauvoo. A family research took a picture pointing her name on the memorial. Family records show that she went to winter quarters in 1846. The descendants of her oldest son, Samuel Allen Wilcox, my ancestor, assumed she had died in 1847 in winter quarters. Several family researchers, including myself, assumed she was one of those that was buried in the Mormon Pioneer Cemetery there. I even created a memorial on Piney Grave for her with that location. A cousin found an unmarked grave, number 62, and claimed that for Margaret. As described in Part 3, we have documentation from the tithing record in the Big Spring branch that Margaret died and was buried on 3 December 1848 with the name of Margaret Harmon. Those who died in Big Spring branch were not taken to the winter quarters Mormon Pioneer Cemetery, but were buried in Canesville Cemetery, which is now called the Fairview Cemetery in Council Bluff, Potawatomi, Iowa, United States. Unfortunately, many of the pioneer headstones have not survived, including Margaret's, but she is on a list of those probably buried there from Big Spring Branch. I transferred her Find-A-Grave memorial to that cemetery. I have a picture taken from the cemetery on this slide, but I am not sure which section has the burials from that time period, from 1846 to 1853. There is a map of the cemetery. Perhaps someone will go there and tell us which section holds those memorials from pioneer members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. As explained in Part 3, Silas died in 1865, either at his home in Preparation or at his daughter Phoebe's in the same general area. I have not found a definite place where she lived as of that time. The last record we have of his home is in Preparation, Monona, Iowa, United States. The 1957 research notes stated that he died in Harrison County, Iowa, United States. Later research from Laverne Hacking, editor of most of the Samuel Allen Wilcox family bulletins, gives either Monona County or Los Hills as his death and burial place. When I was there on a family history tour, I looked for the burial place. I spent a lot of time in libraries and historical societies. They all said that if he was a Mormon, he would have been buried in Preparation Cemetery. I walked all around the cemetery and did not find his headstone. Later, I found a record that stated that this cemetery was not established until 1867. He may have been buried close to his home. However, I decided to leave his Find-A-Grave memorial in that cemetery. I guess we think of this as a cenotaph, which is a memorial for someone who is buried elsewhere. Here are links for a list of burials in Preparation Cemetery and the Find-A-Grave memorial I created for Silas Wilcox. It was my intention to talk about where other spouses were buried, but you can find out by checking on their family or their Find-A-Grave memorials. It is more important that I talk to you about the blessings I have received by doing all of this research, not just for Silas and Margaret, but for all the research I have done for family history. I have been blessed with direct communication with the people I research. They have become real to me because they are real. They love me, and I love them. They are not just facts and figures. I hope you will understand that as you continue to research your ancestors, you will have the same experience. They will become real to you too. Their experiences and the way they responded to things may give you more wisdom about the choices you need to make. That has happened to me many, many times. It was very special to me that Margaret told me what she looked like, and that the person who looked most like her was my Aunt May, the author of the research notes about Silas and Margaret. I know that Aunt May had a personal relationship with Silas and Margaret because of it. When I was growing up, one of my favorite things was to listen to the stories my parents told me about their ancestors and others that had brought joy and wisdom to their lives. One day I asked my father how he knew about all of these stories about his ancestors, and he told me that many of them came from the family bulletins he had read. The person that had written many of those stories was his mother, Martha Eleanor Wilcox Hacking. My aunts and uncles were also great storytellers that we children love to listen to. The reason I have a picture of the stripling warriors on this slide is because they had been taught by their mothers to have faith and courage that God would bless them during battle. Our children need to have the same wisdom from the stories of their ancestors. In the coming days, I will be meeting with all of my ancestors in person. I am very anxious to see them, to talk to them about their experiences in life and how they felt about those experiences. I'm anxious to have them tell me about their family. I'm anxious to work with them to bless our family that is still on the earth in mortality. As you need strengthening and help, as you need comfort and love, know that we, as angels, through the power of the Holy Ghost, will be there to help you because we do love you very much. Doing your family history, temple work, and developing your family relationships will help you to feel our love for you. Most importantly, you will be able to feel the love of God. That is what this is all about. Thank you for viewing and listening to this series of videos. Learn and then tell the stories of your ancestors. Your body sleeps, but your mind stays awake all night telling you stories. If you learn and tell the stories of your ancestors, you will have the greatest opportunity to learn and grow to be like Jesus Christ. This gives you thousands of lifetimes interacting with Jesus Christ to choose his gracious gift of salvation and exaltation. Please use the links and sources attached to this series of videos. Of course, this script, along with links and sources, will be available in Memories for Silas and Margaret on Family Search. One more time, I want to remind you that I love you and want you to share this with your children and grandchildren.